Welcome to another episode of Great Men Taking Over the World. I'm Ren, and today I'm going to be talking about who the hell's this?
Consider me one of your fans. Ren, be careful. You're about to start the episode without a partner. You're gonna need backup on this mission.
Well, I'm about to start the episode right now.
I'm closer than you think.
Hi, I'm Gray Fox, and today we're talking about Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. So I originally got into Metal Gear Solid because I had a subscription to PSM magazine, and back in the 90s PSM used to have the most beautiful covers by artists. They would hire artists to do covers for the new games, and there was Solid Snake and Meryl on the front of PSM, and so they had this huge article about it, ranked #1 game of the year. I read about it, and then I went to Meyer to go buy some game, I don't know, some dumb game probably. And the guy at Meyer told me, anybody who doesn't buy Metal Gear Solid is a loser. And I was 10 years old, you know, so I was like, fuck this guy. But I was still interested, like, dang, I want to play this game. So I got a demo from Pizza Hut, where they used to give out game demos, and that Metal Gear Solid was on one of them, where you sneak through the helicopter port and you're outside in the snow and they're like, whose footprints are these? And I just played it over and over and over and over again until I finally got the game. And I don't know, I probably played the game 200 times.
So, Metal Gear Solid. How I got into it, all the old school magazines back in the day, the late 90s, like PSM, EGM, were totally hyping it. You know, everybody was talking about it. But the funny thing is, I wasn't really into it. I saw the pictures, it wasn't really colorful. I mean, keep in mind, I was just a kid at the time, so it wasn't a big deal. But one of my brothers did end up renting it, you know, just like Tenchu. I know it's funny. And he got me into it. I watched the cinematics, and that's what totally captured me into it. It looked like a movie, you know, not something you normally see in video games. This was like amazing. Just the cinematic quality is what sucked me into it.
My initial impressions were the fact that the game was, like you said, so dark. You know, the game was very mature. You know, I was like 10 years old, and I didn't have older brothers and stuff like that. So, you know, it was just like, to me, playing this game for the first time was like, you know, it starts out this haunting opera music, and you're like swimming in the submarine, and you gotta sneak around the guards and choke them out, and you know, so it was very like different from a lot of the games that I was used to playing.
I noticed immediately it was a very difficult game. The controls and the stealth mechanics were really hard to maneuver, and I got spotted and killed all the fucking time. But, you know, that didn't deter me. I still had fun with it.
Some of the most nostalgic moments I have is playing Metal Gear Solid in the basement of my townhouse, and, you know, sitting on the futon and playing till 3 in the morning the demo, and watching the DARPA chief die. He says, "Why?" and he dies. I played that for hours and hours and hours, and the demo's only like an hour long, if that, maybe 30 minutes.
The main experience I had with it was when me and my two good friends at the time, Peter and Daniel, they rented it, and that's when we just totally got immersed into the game. You know, we started finding all the little nuances that you can do, like, you know, trick the guards with the box. We just spent hours fucking with the guards with the box, and it was just so funny, just a box. Just a box.
My favorite thing, I've been waiting for you to ask me this, my favorite thing about Metal Gear Solid, still to this day, is the story. Still to this day, I read the story, I get in depth with the story. I mean, even now I'm learning more things about the story and getting deeper into the character developments, and it just blows my mind how he created this whole subculture almost. What's your favorite thing about the game?
There's a lot of things, but obviously there's the whole cinematic quality of it. The story is really awesome, and it just kind of gives this sense that Shadow Moses is this awesome epic mission happening, and then I have all these characters, all these really cool in-depth characters with their own motives, and there's just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of intrigue, and it's really spy-like a James Bond movie sort of, but it's got this darker atmosphere to it. It's kind of cold, and it's just got this ghostly sort of military base atmosphere to it that's just super immersive. There's something so different about it. And the voice acting, it just really brings out all the characters and gives them depth, and the music and everything just tied into that. The atmosphere, the story, the characters is what I really love about Metal Gear Solid.
What character did you identify with the most?
Well, of course, Snake was, awesome to me because he's just the classic hero, anti-hero really, because he's just such a dark character. I really love that about him. And then I really like the ninja too. The ninja was, one of my favorites as well, just because he was so sweet.
Easily, it's Snake and Gray Fox are the favorites. Snake is just this guy who has this mysterious past, and he just kind of seems like a loner. I think something about that, kind of lifestyle that he lived through the wars, and then now he's just living in Alaska in isolation. Just something really draws you to that kind of character, and then what brings him here? Why is he still doing this mission? This guy fucking must love war. He must love killing, or is he doing this for Colonel? Is he doing this for himself? He's just this really cool character, and he's just got this badass, rugged voice that David Hayter, does with that.
I'm afraid so. It looks like they've got both codes and are nearly ready to launch. Damn.
And I also love Gray Fox. That guy's just, he's a fucking ninja. I love Tenchu. Of course I'm gonna love ninjas. He's like a cyborg too, got stealth, and he's also got this super mysterious past, and he's like a fucking psycho too. He's like banging his head on the ground and shit. The whole thing is that there's this terrorist attack going on in that Shadow Moses Island, where that Foxhound group, that contains Liquid and Psycho Mantis, Vulcan Raven, Sniper Wolf, Ocelot, and Decoy Octopus,
Yep.
and all them. And their demands is to get Big Boss's remains, so they can essentially, keep cloning, super enhanced soldiers, which is like all the soldiers that are in the game are enhanced already with, some of Big Boss's genes. That's why they're the next generation soldiers. Mm-hmm. And so Snake has to come in there and basically defuse the situation. Well, at first he needs to make sure that if they do have nuclear weapons, because that's the whole threat, is they're gonna pretty much nuke I guess the US if the Big Boss's remains aren't retrieved. And then as Snake goes along, he discovers that there's a secret black project, Metal Gear, that's happening. Metal Gear Rex is developed, and that's what's gonna launch the nuclear strike. So that's why they're really want Snake to go in there and dismantle or at least destroy Metal Gear if he can.
Yeah.
Along the way, he just meets a lot of different crazy characters and situations. He meets all the members of Foxhound.
They all have super unique capabilities and backstories, and Sniper Wolf, she's a amazing sharpshooter. She can sit out in the cold all day, all night, waiting for you.
Yep.
Revolver Ocelot can, he's a gunslinger, super fast, ricochet bullets.
Yeah. Psycho Mantis can read your mind and predict all your, actions and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Vulcan Raven, straight up beast, beast mode, fucking just tears it up.
Is that the guy with the...
Yeah, the giant Gatling gun. This
Yeah.
guy's intense as hell.
Right.
And we got, Gray Fox the ninja, who's actually, not part of Foxhound directly, but he's a pretty admirable opponent that you meet. And there's also, twists to that. And, a past between him and Snake that you kind of discover as you go. Yeah, so Snake's just fighting all these characters. They're on the hunt for him. Like when they fight him, like it just seems like they're like, here's this admirable opponent. Like everybody's like, this guy's fucking hardcore.
Yes.
This guy,
Yes. And then a lot of them, there is some admiralty in it because, like Sniper Wolf, for example, like you really dive into the character while they're dying, and you get to know who they are, where they come from, where their perspective is, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like you see that they're not really as bad as you may think. There's something else going on here. And at the end of the day, I think Snake is really the one who is not doing the best thing because he is just blindly following orders, and he knows that he's a pawn.
Yeah.
And these people have a path that they want to follow, and they have a dream of the world that they want it to be, and Snake just kind of doesn't care about any of that. He just does what he's told
for the mission.
Right.
He's all about the mission,
and I think that's a very scary thing about him.
And then obviously he runs into the other characters like Hal Emmerich, Otacon, who helps him along the mission, kind of helps him get through certain areas, and gives him advice on certain technological things. And obviously he's the one who helped build Metal Gear Rex, so he gives him he knows his way around, and he gives Snake a lot of intel on Rex and just like the whole facility, because that's where he works. So he's a great asset to Snake along the journey.
Definitely.
Then there's Meryl Silverberg, which is the Colonel's niece, and that becomes like another mission within the mission, is that he has to rescue her because she's kind of being used as bait for Snake, to come in there. Snake starts falling for her,
Yeah, and I think it shows a lot about Snake too, because before almost losing Meryl, he didn't really care about anyone else in his life.
Yeah.
And that was really like a big change in character for him. Was he thought this chick was so annoying, and Snakey's just a loner.
She was just getting in his way a lot in the beginning.
She's getting in the way. He doesn't like to waste bullets on people, and he's
That's cold, man.
He's just this loner, cold, old soldier, and he starts falling in love with her, and it really changes who he is.
Kind of shows the more human side to him, that he can have feelings, and that anything's possible on the battlefield, I guess. That's what they say. As corny as that sounds.
I'm going to save Meryl. I don't need an excuse.
Okay.
And I'm not doing it for someone else either. I'm gonna save Meryl for myself. Colonel, don't worry.
Snake. And I think that's funny, because like that just the whole game almost kind of glorifies war.
It does.
I don't think it's like in a good way, like in my own kind of like belief about it.
I think what's interesting is like the story of Big Boss. How he wants to create a safe haven for soldiers who don't have anything else in life but fighting. I mean, that's their calling, is war. But they don't want to be used by the government anymore. They're like they're tired of governments using soldiers and throwing them away like trash.
Obviously, then there's Liquid Snake, the whole tie-in, like that's Snake's brother, obviously like one of the clones from Big Boss, and they just have kind of like a interesting history, and Liquid is just totally jealous and angry. Liquid
seems like the ultimate bad guy, and at the end of the day, Liquid is in his mind trying to do the right thing. He's tired of corruption, and the government kind of like pushing him and his family to the curb because they're a project that went wrong, so they just throw him away. And I think that's kind of interesting about him, because he's so hateful, and he's
got quite a chip on his shoulder.
That's what I mean. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
So I think if I would have to say, the main theme of this game is genetics and DNA, and just like Snake and Liquid, they're twins, and from Big Boss's genes. The next generation soldiers are enhanced with Big Boss's genes, all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because like Liquid, the whole time he thinks he is the inferior of the twins. He believes that he has the recessive genes, whereas Snake has the dominant genes and the superior one. But actually you find out it's the other way around, and that's just kind of funny, which kind of presents itself like what what one's mindset is versus the genes, and how you can, create your own future.
Yeah, and I think also talking about the genes also is, Solid Snake and Liquid are twins, like you said, and they're a lot alike. They're cloned from the alleged Stone Cold Killer Big Boss, who is, this horrible soldier and threat to the world. And, by the end of the game, you see that Solid Snake is in love. He wants to go, live in the wilderness, and he's a much different character, and that really shows that he was able to change his destiny, which was thought to be already predetermined by his genes.
That is true. Yeah.
Maybe that's the real way to live.
The gameplay in this game is mostly just kind of stealth and also action. There was Tenchu around that same kind of late 1998 time period, which these games were the pioneers of the stealth genre, which became a lot more popular throughout the years,
Yeah, it's not often you see a game where you have all these guns and you don't really use them that much. And you get rewarded for not shooting.
That's true. You can choke them out or just sneak past the guards, which is usually like even more rewarding.
Right.
Sneakier. And, you'd be like leaning on walls, looking around corners. Yeah, you'll be knocking and stuff to draw the guards around, so you can kind of maneuver around them or sneak up on them.
Right.
The guards' AI was kind of cool that they could see your footprints and be like, whose footprints are these?
Question mark.
Yeah, like the question mark above their head.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Follow your footprints.
Yeah, follow your footprints around. And you had that Soliton radar that Mei Ling created that allows you to see where the guards are, but doesn't work in certain areas.
Right.
Because there's the surveillance cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
And, chaff grenades are going to be your good friend along the way, because it dismantles the signals, so you'll be able to sneak around more effectively that way. There's just like really sweet like action sequences where like the first one that was really intense, I think, was after you meet Meryl and they have that whole argument about like, she's like, she won't pull the trigger on him.
Right.
And then the guards bust in.
Yeah.
And then like you and her have to shoot them down. And then like that's where Snake kind of realizes that she's green, and that like all that virtual training doesn't really mean anything without direct experience, right?
I'm telling you, shoot!
And then when you fight Psycho Mantis.
Right. I think that was a big changer in video game history, because I had never seen anything like that before.
It was crazy.
Right.
Because he reads your memory card.
Yep.
So
he counts how many people you've killed.
Yeah.
He talks about what games you like.
And also then once you start fighting him, the screen blacks out and says Hideo, as if it was a video. Like the older TVs would say like video on the top corner.
Hideo?
Yeah, it says Hideo on it. You're like, what happened? But then it just like keeps going. And then the trick is he reads your mind throughout. He reads your moves as you're fighting him. But in order to trick it, you have to put your controller into port 2 so he can't read your mind, which is like so bizarre.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I read your mind?
Or like, how about the whole like torture scene where you gotta tap
that was crazy. You gotta tap.
I remember my cousin saying like, oh, you gotta grab a pencil and like shake your hand, to get the thing.
That's funny. It's like, me and Peter and Daniel were doing
I saw Ren playing that.
Me and my friends Peter and Daniel were doing that sequence, and we were taking turns, so we kept dying. But my friend Daniel, we called him the quickest thumb in the West because he was able to do it.
Right.
I can do it.
Hard.
It was hard. I can do it now, like every time, just because like I trained like throughout all that playing. Like Cash Money watched me play, like just tap, 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 and it's just like draining. But that part's really fun too, the torture sequence. And there's just like funny little game details within this game, like she strips that guard naked and he's just laying there butt ass fucking naked and shit like that. And later that guy has a cold because of it. Remember that? He's like, oh, that bitch took my clothes or whatever he says. That was funny.
And then, or how about the whole like tricking the guard if you can in time? Tricking the guard to thinking that you're dead.
Yeah, with the
ketchup and knocking him out.
Yeah,
and,
get out there. That's some classic stuff. And also you to chase after Meryl or the guard really fast into the bathroom, and then you catch Meryl literally with her pants down.
Yep.
And
if you're fast enough.
Yeah, if you're fast enough.
Now it's my butt. What's next?
And also like those dogs in that like the cave area, they're all trying to attack
wolves,
you. But if they piss on the box,
right? Or you have the handkerchief from Sniper Wolf.
Sniper Wolf. They're like, they love you.
Yeah.
then there's like you ever get the camera and you go around like certain areas, you take
Oh, yeah,
pictures, and then
yeah.
if you look on like the photo album, you see ghosts.
Ghosts,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's just
yeah.
like really cool things like that,
Yeah.
like hidden throughout the game.
Definitely.
When you have to call Meryl on the codec, you don't know her frequency, and all the clue they give you is look at the back of the game,
case.
which it shows you, you know, her actual frequency on here, and it says Meryl. So that's like another little funny trick that he did. And like the whole codec system of the game, you see it a lot throughout the
Yes.
game.
There's a lot of hidden codecs.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden codecs you can do. Like with Mei Ling,
Yeah.
if you call her like and don't save many times, she gets annoyed and like sticks her tongue out at you.
Yeah.
I really like those little animations and like, you know, the drawings there
Yeah.
of them two
I
talking.
know, I
It's
love
just
those
it's so
too.
nostalgic, dude.
It
Just
is.
seeing that pop up when you first crawl into that like cavern place and he has that first conversation, like, Colonel.
Snake.
And then
Right.
it's just like,
Colonel,
oh
can you hear
man,
me?
you
Right.
get goosebumps.
Loud
And then
and
you
clear.
go up to that helicopter port where, you know, the entrance to the base is.
Yep.
And that part's just really cool. The snowfall atmosphere is just
Yeah.
really awesome. And
I think that's the most advanced part of the game. We don't see that. We don't see that consistency of like alternate ways into the next level. We don't see, well, not really level, but the next
Yeah, area.
We don't see that much security with the spotlights, the guards, the footprints, the cameras. You know, we don't see that throughout the rest of the game. So I thought that was kind of interesting how that's the most advanced area of the whole game. I think too an interesting part is where you first see Metal Gear Rex and you go into that area and it's just so almost like abandoned. There's no enemies in there.
Yeah, wasn't that
There's
weird?
nothing.
yeah.
And it's just really strange because you're there and you see the final thing, you know, this thing that you have to fight, and it's like there's so much anticipation getting to it, and then when you get there, it's just like dead,
Empty. Yeah.
you know. And I think it's really kind of haunting almost because you have to go all the way up,
Yeah.
you know. And there's a couple scenes in that game where you have to go up the stairs that long.
Yeah.
You know-
That, like yeah. Before you fight the helicopter.
Right. There's a lot of like anticipation scenes where
That's
it's
a
just
good
like
point.
a break from the action, a break from the stealth, and it's just like a huge area you have to cover by yourself, and it's just
Without any real interruptions.
right. The music's really well done.
Yes.
Every game he hires a top-notch composer to do all the music for the game, and one of the most interesting things is, you know, this is a stealth James Bond kind of game, but the beginning scene has this like haunting Gaelic opera that's just like way different from what you expect. You know, it's not like some like you know,
Yeah, they use that throughout-
exciting action-packed thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like this really like dark.
Something different, definitely.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful too, and they use
It
it throughout
is.
the game. You know, when there's like a lot of drama between Snake and like Meryl and Otacon and just different scenes, and then they use it in the credits. So it's like to me,
Yeah.
I think that's most like the main theme of Metal Gear.
Please save yourself. Go on living and don't give up on people. Don't forget me.
And it's a really beautiful song, like you said, and I think that the change of the song too goes from like it's really dark at
Yeah.
the beginning, I think,
Then a little bit
And-
more like.
and it shows like, you know, Snake reflects back on like the killing he's done and the dark things he's done, and then at the end of the game it picks up into this like faster, really beautiful song, and they're showing like all these nature scenes
Yeah.
in Alaska, and I think that really shows the whole development of Snake, really, you know, because
I mean, almost like a symbolism for that
right.
of him like transitioning to something.
Yeah, because he kind
Maybe.
of, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like that's kind of
That's interesting. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like there. Besides that, there's the whole atmospheric music throughout the game. Like for me, one of the most nostalgic things, like even just going back to it now, is when you know you're done crawling through the ventilation shaft
Yeah.
after you talk to Miller, and you go down into the tank hangar, and that music starts playing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that gives me fucking
Yeah.
chills, and you're just like hear those sound effects of
Right.
Snake running around on the catwalk above
Yep.
the actual hangar. Just like, oh, dude, it's just it's so fucking Metal Gear. That's
It
like
is.
if I had to pin down Metal Gear's atmosphere, it's like that tank
Yeah,
hangar.
that's true. That's a good point.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Then another big part that I totally love was Psycho Mantis' theme. Like when you go into that area, dude, that haunting music.
That really,
It was disturbing, dude. Yeah. That part, and Psycho Mantis' disturbing kind of nature.
Yes.
There's that funny tidbit you come up, it's like Snake's like, hey, what happened to the music when you're up in that
Right,
area?
yeah.
And then you start hearing Psycho Mantis' theme, and then it's like Meryl's like starts getting hypnotized.
Yep.
By
She tries to kill
Snake, kill herself.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty.
That was a creepy part of the game.
Yeah, that was like probably the creepiest
creepy.
part of the game. Yeah. Is that the whole Psycho Mantis part.
Yeah.
I would say.
Definitely.
Hold me, Snake.
What's wrong?
Oh, hurry. Make love to me. Snake, I want you.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things that you didn't like about the game. Just mention a little bit of that.
I'd say the top-down perspective's kind of sometimes a little irritating.
Yeah,
You
and the
see where
fact
you're
that
going.
you have to press triangle to even look around. You know, there's a lot of tricky things in the maneuvering.
You're trying to move around, and a lot of times you'll start leaning when you don't want to, when you
Right.
just like want to escape, and then it's like you get spotted just because of that split second. Metal Gear Rex is awesome.
Yeah.
That design was really cool.
It was.
It was a sweet fight too against Liquid.
It really showed a lot about Snake too, because he was supposed to be like this legendary soldier, and you go up against this huge battle tank.
Yeah, just a
And it's
man.
like he just knows. You know, it's cool because like you can kind of see throughout the series now like the legends they tell about him, but when you go through it, it's like he had help from Emmerich knowing what to do, and you know, it's like I don't know. I just think that's really interesting now when you look at this series. You kind of see Solid Snake as like another character who was like a legendary person who did these unimaginable things, and you know, you got to go through those in that game.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Snake is he's definitely a video game icon. You know,
Right.
he's
He's definitely a legend in the video game world. And I think Hideo Kojima, he's innovator in his field. You know, I think he's
always pushing it.
he's always pushing the envelope. He's always doing really like controversial decisions, you know, and change. I just think he's really somebody who is a master at what they do.
Yeah, in terms of video game development, storytelling, and just being creative in general.
Yep.
Like, the guy's definitely a beast. Yeah, so I would say this game, how it compares amongst the sequels is, obviously the gameplay develops. It gets a lot more detailed, but I think just this being the first game and just how it was presented at the time was really freaking innovative and awesome. So that's why this is my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, and definitely one of my top favorite PlayStation games in general. And it's really cool. They did the remake on the GameCube with the like MGS2 graphic style implemented in that. And so this is just a really awesome classic game that has just epic story, characters. It's got mystery, love, drama in it. It's just intense action sequences. Yeah, man, this is like truly one classic game that I absolutely love. At the time, I would give this a 10 out of 10 when it came out. Now, because the gameplay doesn't hold up as much as it did, but the story is still super epic, I would have to give this game a overall 9 out of 10.
Overall, overtime.
Yeah, overtime, just overall right now, how it holds up, a 9 out of 10, because, the epicness of the story and everything I mentioned is, what makes it and holds it together. It's just super awesome, nostalgia, classicness.
Great Fox, what about you compare this game to the others in the series?
Well, I would say compared to others out of the I'm kind of partial. Number 2 is my favorite just because I was so ready for it to come out after this game. I just was like gun-ho.
Even with the annoying Raiden.
You didn't know that
Even
before.
with the annoying
You didn't
Raiden.
know that before.
I didn't know that before.
Yeah,
but
that was the whole secret.
Even with him, I just loved it.
Yeah.
But this definitely is one of the top 3 of the series out of like 10 plus games, Of course, it's nostalgic to me, so it's probably my second favorite. And in terms of rating, when it came out, 10 out of 10, easily, Now, given the graphics, not just the graphics, but the gameplay and, it's a very difficult game, and it's kind of slow paced compared to now standards. You know, kids who didn't grow up in that era, they probably wouldn't like this game because the story is so complex, it's slow paced, the maneuvers are hard, and the maneuvering is hard. So I'd still give it an 8.5 out of 10 now, you know, just because it's just such a enticing game. But yeah. Hey guys, thanks for joining us again on another episode where we talked about the great Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. Classic game.
Yeah, we love this pure nostalgia of that late 90s era. So guys, until next time, Snake!
What's wrong? Snake! Snake!
Just a box.